Wyvern's in the pool and also Raze. I think this time around, OG, they might say, we want to have this Razor, or they can open up with Tiny again. I don't mind seeing Tiny, even though he didn't have that good of a game in the previous one. Having a displacement ability in Dota right now just feels too valuable.
We'll see. Maybe Tiny's stocks kind of fall a little bit when Puck is banned. Like if Puck isn't able to be picked, or because he's banned in the first stage, right? Like Tiny isn't necessarily as great, as important. With the Chan being removed, do you guys think that Earthshaker can be picked anyway? Like some Earthshaker Enchantress is a different way that PSG.LGD have been drafting. Yeah, with that Razor as well, right?
I like it. One of my favorite things about Earthshaker is the long-range disengage. Like if you have reposition, like on Marcy, the ability to kind of disrupt that, even when your team gets snatched away, is really nice for me. I don't know what they're going to prefer. I like OG stealing the Marcy, though. Like, we talked about the Tiny and stuff, and yeah, it's still decent hero, but you are block picking here. Like, LGD coming off a very confident game with the Marcy, I would not be keen to give it again.
But now they're giving up the Tiny on the side of for LGD here. Is that going to be a concern for them this time? Because
they could answer with Viper and always have that lane matchup. Viper Marcy against the Razor, whether it's a safe lane Razor or an off lane Razor. Try to follow him around and still be able to deal damage even if you get linked. I think you need to get if it's not Viper, then it's something else for Amar. But they go with Viper.
Yeah. Like a really good opening from both of these teams. I believe that they are satisfied with the openers, none coming out as a clear winner in any sort of way. And the second picking phase will really decide in which both of these drafts go to. Because right now we have our 3s and 4s, and that's it. With a little bit of flexibility, obviously, on the Viper and the Tiny, but most of the times these are your 3s and 4s.
Yeah. With the Marcy, though, this usually goes to Taiga, and it makes Seb's hero a little more awkward because he can't go for these like Alchemists and Earthshakers. It feels kind of weird. They might try and push it anyway, but I would like to see more of the IO's Wind Ranger, just a ranged hero that can give you a little something different to what Marcy's offering.
They actually did play the Marcy IO versus PSG.LGD as well. They lost. They lost with it, right? So I completely see your point. Maybe there is something that they could adjust to that last draft that they had with the IO and Marcy, that is, and make it work. But
yeah, like what the core pairing is the most important part, right? Like the Storm in game 1 was so effective.
Good,
yeah.
The other pairing that I liked for OG is IO, Marcy plus a Lone Druid. It might be a bit tricky playing that into Razor, but I still think in some of these games, if it allows you to do that, I think they might go for it. PSG.LGD are in their head, not using any reserve time. They already know what they want to ban.
Yep. Yeah. Like you mentioned the Lone Druid, and as the major started, I thought that Razor might be even an answer to him, right? Like historically, can be decent versus the Lone Druid, but so far at the major it didn't work. Like if you get the Lone Druid versus Razor matchup, you're really happy. I've seen even a ton of Lone Druids picked into it. Meanwhile, OG, they're just banning out these Zookeepers, right? Like these Lycans and Beastmasters. These are the heroes that you don't want to be playing against as a Viper. Like in the Chinese region, at least, you get the Zoo, you just send it on the poor Viper. He can't really do a lot.
It's also these two heroes. It's not about the summons. Both of these heroes do provide a lot of vision. So tossbacks and initiation from Tiny, and also they do build into Helm of the Dominator. So far, Viper and Marcy, they don't deal well with the Helm of the Overlord creep, which gives PSG.LGD like the 5-window timing where they're still not strong enough to kill it, and they're very strong when they group around and move as 5. You
can still see a lot of like not so much summons, but illusion carries that are going to be in this pool too. You look at CK. I think earlier Peace Coast showed a really excellent like display of CK versus Viper, and even though Viper gets like a BKB, you eventually get Reality Rift Pierce's BKB, and then it doesn't matter anymore, and it's so hard for him to deal with that, even though you have like the spit to kind of stop the crit. It doesn't matter.
Will we see a Prophet maybe on PSG?
Don't say his name.
No.
Don't say his name. Move on quickly. Ignore Lizard.
I think one hero you need to be prepping for, because Dazzle does provide you with a lot of sustain against Viper, is Naga Siren. This is something that PSG.LGD ran. They might have ran that against OG during Riyadh Masters, because against Viper you do have a Dispel mechanic, you do have a healing bomb, and you got to be very careful what you pick next.
Right, it's one of the best heroes versus Viper in the lane, right? Like you just send the illusions at him, you heal bomb them. There's an option as well to go for a Terrorblade. Like with the Dazzle, you can always provide Terrorblade with sufficient enough time to use his Sunder off, so to get the Sunder off. It's another option. Like whenever Dazzle came back into the meta, and it took a little bit of time for teams to realize, okay, this hero is great. What if we started actually picking the heroes that work very well with him, like the TBs, like the Huskars, like these old school heroes that just need that grave in order to survive and use all their skill set.
This Shaker, I definitely don't enjoy the pairing with Marcy because I think they have a lot of overlap in what they do. They're both heroes looking for like an Ether Lens or a Blink. They are they're very close. But at the same time, like I said earlier on, like LGD having the Earthshaker and like helping against the Marcy, this does help against the Tiny. And also in lane, because you're going to be laning it safe potentially, you can block off that Razor if it goes off lane from running your carry down the lane, right?
And with this Kotl pick now, if you are thinking Nagas, if you are thinking Terrorblades, you have to be a little bit worried. Like, as you can still go for those, but you need a mid laner that can get on top of Kotl very easily. We've seen in so many games, Keeper of the Light, just if he's uncontestedly dishing out one Illuminate after another, there's not too many carries that can stand against that, specifically the illusion ones, as their illusions just melt.
Ami's been playing a lot of the Jug, which I do tend to like against these heroes. They are like a lot of magic control, like the slow, you're purging all these things off. They don't have anything that can cancel your spin TP. But they did suffer in game 1.
They get the Pango.
This time around, a much better Pango game than compared to game number 1, where you will be able to jump the back lines, find this Earthshaker, find Keeper of the Light, most importantly, forcing him to potentially get an earlier BKB, which this hero doesn't definitely like to buy. He would prefer other items, and now banning out the Storm Spirit, which did cause a lot of issues. So banning out the Jug you mentioned. I'm still down for some Naga Siren. I wouldn't mind seeing that. Like even hero like Fever comes to my mind, because they don't have like any reliable lockdown, and you can run away from Viper. I think it might work for PSG.LGD.
In terms of being strong in the lane, yeah, I like the Weaver a lot. I get a little worried though, just because you can Fisher from Fog, which is like devastating for a Weaver in terms of catch. I'm not too keen on the Naga though. In these series, in this tournament even, I've really enjoyed teams that can bring their carry and get involved, and I think Naga just struggles too hard against a Kotl. Assuming this is a core, going mid.
PSG.LGD, they have a bit of a different approach when it comes down to fighting with their carry against, who was it? They were playing Ursa, and he decided to join fight when his Battle Fury was coming to him. So it's all about like bringing the numbers, understanding when you're strong, and then they turn that into Roche later on. So it doesn't necessarily mean that they don't want to fight with the heroes that love to farm. That's one of the strengths from PSG.LGD.
Yeah, I just mean that when they might want to bring her to farm, her timing seemed poor into a Kotl core, but it's hard to say because Naga's...
There are so many heroes as well, right? Like left in the pool, there is the Terrorblade as well, there's the Lone Druid, well, no longer the Lone Druid, the flavor of the meta, flavor of the most picked carry in the Chinese region, this Void, has been banned out by OG. But okay, we talked a lot about the Naga, about the PSG.LGD. What does OG need here? Like, there's a couple of carries that are still left in the pool.
Yeah, do you like China's? Oh no, never mind. I was gonna say Faceless Void, but he's banned. I was gonna say their flavor of dealing with Razor is like the jump away from the link, right?
It's the Morphling.
Ooh,
That's new. That's fun.
Oh, that's
it's not
fun.
The greatest hero in the world, but
yeah, okay. There's a PL, I guess, for PSG.LGD as well now that you can go for. Versus Kotl, it's hideous, but you are still playing into a Morphling, which is nice.
I think
they have options, I believe, on PSG.LGD. I just have to say, this Morphling, I don't like.
I
hero.
still-
It still has a positive win rate at this event, though. It's been picked 6 times, so it's not the worst, but I suppose it's going to come down to this last pick, right?
Yeah, I still like Naga Siren. I'm also down with hero like Luna. That's going to give them strong 5-man timing, where they get 2 BKBs, one on Razor, one on Luna, to be able to just take Roshan, go for the objectives. Right now, their objective taking is really lacking. They can't really go for tier 2 towers, tier 3 towers especially.
Yeah. I've seen some players discuss the Aghanims on Morphling, that it can be really good versus Agile heroes, versus Strength heroes as well, but overall I am yet to see a Morphling work well. I can understand the Morphling pick. I definitely see the reasoning behind it. You're playing into a Razor, you want a hero that can lane against him, that can morph away. The only problem is usually it forces you into that Linken's. Like, you need to buy it. If you do not buy the Linken's Razor, every single fight just comes on top of you, links you, and you're pretty much useless.
Well, that's why you have Morphling. You morph into him and drain his damage.
And Razor static link him back.
Yeah, that's the counter pick.
I mean, this has even been the longest LGD has taken to pick their hero so far this game. They're already cutting through all of that reserve time that they had in stock earlier, so I think they're kind of questioning the same thing. What do we pick against that?
Just a casual alchemist for them instead then.
I do like it. I think it's hard for OG with like Morphling and a slow Viper to invade his jungle that well. Like, he should be able to get his IM timings pretty nicely. If he can get this BKB and kind of match when BZM's going to try and get a Vessel, it should all work out, I think.
Free Pango game, I'm going to say. Like, the only thing he needs to be careful about is Fisher, so that he doesn't get stuck. Other than that, it's not going to be the build that he went for the first game, trying to get the Linken's, protect himself against the Bloodseeker. This time around, he's going to be going for his natural item build, which is the Fusel Blade. And then you have another slow against Keeper of the Light, and also against the Morphling. Burning Morphling's mana is going to be very crucial in some of these fights. Alchemist plus Dazzle, safe lane, some sustain, a lot of minus armor, a lot of physical damage. Could get a kill in return, but yeah, Alchemist will go to jungle, continue to farm up, and they have other 4 heroes. I like what PSG.LGD's got.
This Morphling completely low-to-sword my brain, and I switched up the matchup, but overall I think that they got what it takes. I think the Kotl is still uncontested. Like, Pangolier and Tiny are good, but for me a little bit unreliable. Overall, I'm 50-50 on the fence with in this last matchup.
Well, it's 50-50, 100% perhaps for the rest of us here. Only one way to find out. We have Sunspan, Jenkins, and Quinn.
Thank you very much. This is game number 3 between
PSG.LGD
versus
OG.
Holy shit, that was actually way more epic than I actually felt the vibration.
That was good.
Can't wait for there to be fans here tomorrow to feel some of that vibration, of course. But this game 3 is hopefully not a shellacking, because we've seen a lot of this in the group stage. We see a shellacking game 1, shellacking game 2 between the other team winning, and usually game 3, that means it's going to be a lot more hotly contested.
It's very rare that it's a shellacking trifecta. There's usually not enough Gaben's Nectar to go around. It is a very scarce resource, much like Gaben's milk.
All right, that's a good start to game number 3 with one of the hypest matchups that we have seen thus far in the upper brackets. So whoever loses will still have another life in that lower, and yeah, this is going to be very, very nice. But the Morphling pick kind of dumbfounding the panel to a degree. It's not a hero that we've seen in quite a while. What are you guys' thoughts on this this model, first and foremost?
Okay, don't.
All right, now that we're past the opinions of the model, what about the hero itself in this game?
It's not bad. It's good against Razor, and to be honest, it's not good versus much more than that. I think Pango is one of the better mid heroes against Morph, because you have this mana burn, you have this disarm, you have this constant chain stunning. Morph doesn't like to buy BKB that much. And Alchemist versus Morphling is like sort of a two-sided matchup, but generally Alchemist can hit a timing that Morphling is not too happy against.
Avalanche from Jin Q to secure the bounty rune in the top river.
I feel like with Morph, does he? He does not have jump. He has Dispose.
Poison Touch is reapplying over and over and over, so this looks to be first blood. One more right click. He's going to pop the Fairy Fire in the trees. He gets the Dispose off. and why not wanting to take first blood for himself. Obviously, Ame would be the better choice, but they don't have a choice this time around. Either way, PSG.LGD with first blood, still relatively happy with that.
Oh, they're swapping lands.
Oh. I did not expect this. I really thought that they wanted the Morph lane to be against Razor in lane, just because you can waveform away from the Link. But honestly, like, Razors just go for Plasma Field. This seems like a better matchup. We've seen Viper dumpster Razor before.
Yeah, I think this is a lot better. I think the lanes in the other way actually would have gone really bad for OG, so I think this is a much better setup, because I think the whatchamacallit, the stupid freaking Viper Marcy, I don't think would have, I don't know. I think this is considerably better setup for OG.
And already Faith Beyond having to resort to try to plasma fielding down creeps, because can't really get that close to the wave. And obviously Seb playing the Earthshaker this time around, one of the 2 heroes that he's been spamming a lot in this tournament. Obviously changed it up a bit in this series, which is nice to see. Actually, I've yet to see the Wind Ranger this series at all. The BZM playing the mid Coddle, as Seb actually blocked in by his own fissure. The Avalanche keeps him in place as well. Big static link from Faith Beyond. Seb trying to limp away as Amar, right-clicking Faith Beyond to a high. I mean, he might be able to get this kill if he just stands his ground. Indeed, he does. And now Jin Q kind of stuck between a Viper and a Rock. And it looks like he is dead as well. So 2 kills for OG in the laning stage. Can't ask for a better start.
Yeah, they will maybe...
Oh, all right. Innocence ends up dropping to Yuragi. So that's a little bit of a surprising match. I mean, this is a Morphling and Marcy lane like you talked about, as Ame getting harassed out. He gets disposed back into the wave as well, puts down his acid spray, but he drops in addition. And Yuragi just strength gaining back up to a respectable amount of HP. And OG, other than the first blood, it's been all of them to start this game.
Yeah, I mean, this is a game where the early tempo matters a lot. This Coddle hero, when he is uncontested and has side lanes that are going okay, he gets this bots and suddenly he starts porting around and things can get really out of control. Suddenly you start chain feeding, this guy gets Vessel, and the game can really slide out of your favor. So, like, how things happen early, how runes are contested, how this Pango's game is, and the side lanes aren't too out of control is like a very big deal this game, since the mids will likely look to rotate.
Yeah, in terms of the mids, it feels like this matchup between Pango and Coddle is just a farming. I don't see either of them getting a kill on each other without some sort of a gank.
Yeah, it's pretty hard without ganks to kill this Coddle hero. It's just 7,000 movement speed. Nothing to say is doing pretty well so far. BZM backing up to stack some camp, so sacrificing a couple lane creeps to get the stacks in. If LGD is aware of this, fighting these can be very, very good, because giving the Coddle the free stacks is rather spooky sometimes.
Nothing to say actually stealing some of those stacks. Easy camp stack, he got about half of it. TP's back to tower.
Why? He's going to get disposed, and a big shadow wave comes out, but still going to be the death of him. It might be the trade, though. So LGD's able to get something out of this lane, I guess, but still. OG very favorable overall as Faith Beyond. Amar gets tossed back into the fray. He might just right-click again to find this kill, and he's going to get it a little bit later as Seb finds the kill on Faith Beyond, but Amar not getting the XP, kind of a big deal.
Yeah, this top lane is very finicky and very high skill. It can swing either way pretty hard depending on what happens in, like, because they both have no TPs now, right? So when they pour it in, this next minute can be very, very impactful for either side.
More pressure in the bot lane. We're going to have the dispose with Marcy's sidekick on Yuragi. That's something, I mean, I haven't gotten to see this patch because Morphling is so underpicked, but going to low agi and then just getting free lifesteal without having, I mean, he already has the Mask of Mana,
with the Morbid Mask
on top of it.
Yeah, he doesn't need any more regen. That's a pretty nice combo.
That is very nifty. I think as long as LGD is able to sort of stabilize in this top lane, get levels, not like chain feed to this Viper, there will come a point where Pango might rotate up here, maybe the Dazzle comes, and this Viper is potentially free food to the tossbacks and things like this. He doesn't typically fare very well against it.
More pressure on Y. Looks like he'll live though as Concoction comes out. Taiga will be the recipient of that. This time, obviously, game 1, we saw the position 5 Alchemist not work out super well. This time it was a last pick position 1 Alchemist for Ame. Your thoughts on either of you, Alk, for this specific game?
I feel like it's a good game for, just because, like the panel was mentioning, there's not much to contest the Alk as top lane.
Yep, Seb might be dead. Toss finishes him off. Faith Beyond can take some poison attack stacks from Amar with that Nether Toxin in addition. Already at half HP, gets off the plasma field, has TP now, but might be just resigned to his own death. So Amar, another kill goes the way of OG in this lane.
Level 5. That is starting to be a problem. The level 5 is a pretty big point in terms of damage. And Dazzle is kind of tied to this bottom lane as of now, until Alchemist gets a little bit closer to 6, so they kind of just have to hold on top for now. And you can see they weren't able to contest the top stacks because these side lanes are so laning intensive right now. The Kato got the farm them, so you see his CS way jacked up and looking to be in a pretty good spot.
Yeah, that is quite the lead. I mean, obviously some of those are jungle creeps, but still. And then mid lane. You see nothing to say with his Rolling Thunder. The wall is going to be pretty annoying, but he's trying to use it to his advantage to take out Seb at the very least, and Faith Beyond with the static link should be able to ensure that one. As Amar looks to be fine, as Jin-Q ticking away, but lives on just 20 HP.
Pretty good situation for OG right now. This Coddle's getting continued to farm. Nothing to say rotates up here, but it's just one support kill. It doesn't really change anything. Viper's still going to be chilling. Maybe Shaker brings him some regen. They're not getting kicked out of bottom lane at any point. Alchemist is still doing okay, but this Coddle has had this free game. The bots are coming up. Probably has them very soon.
He's got them already.
Yeah, the TPs are going to start coming out pretty soon.
There he is.
And it'll be a
Rebound disposed back into the creep wave as BZM is here with a big Illuminate, but a nice grave comes out from Y. Do they have enough to finish off Ame? You can see BZM just so speedy. Yuragi not able to find the distance, but another Illuminate just clips Ame. And that is a big kill for OG, as now they can potentially just finish out this lane with Y being that second kill.
Yeah, that is very rough. The Dazzle also TP down bottom, so now they sort of have this impasse top where Viper's sitting there and they don't have the resources to bring there. As long as they keep an eye on what this Pango is doing and they don't feed in some silly way, the Coddle is going to start to make the map really bad for LGD, I think.
And he's going for that Vessel too, so that is one way to contest the Alchemist in the jungle. I feel like OG's heroes, if they weren't so far ahead, they'd be a little bad at contesting Alc, but they're huge.
Well, we have another fissure coming out. Nothing to say. Has to use the shield crash to get to the other side, but a nice toss brings Amar back into the arms of PSG.LGD, which is going to be their biggest pickup so far in this game, it feels like. But the fissure, it's not something we talk about that often against Pango, but it can be very impactful to have to try to, I mean, you have to shield crash to get over it. But it's very annoying.
It's an either way though, right?
Because it could work the other way
because you can bounce off of it. It's just a free wall.
Yeah. It's BZM rotated. So you can see the value of these boosted travel already contributing to actually 3 kills on this top and bottom lane respectively.
Yeah, I think that was his Urn charge as well. So now even more damage. That W slow combined with the Urn is a lot of damage. Once you get to the Vessel, it's like just crazy. And I don't know if, like, I mean, you can see even there, nothing to say with a really nice TP, like a really quick kill on Viper, but it doesn't come to anything. Like, it's a kill, but it doesn't feel like it's trampling the map. It doesn't feel like things are collapsing. And bottom lane is still there, this casual pressure. Alchemist isn't having this free time. Like, the Morphling is dying, creeps being annoying. You can see a CS starting to fall behind.
Yeah.
And the Coddle pressure is not going to let up. He's going to have Vessel before too long, and I don't know if they're going to have a way to actually kill this hero.
Yeah, they don't exactly have great backline jump. The catching with the Pango roll is pretty damn hard, especially without a Blink Dagger, which he is not close to. Tiny Toss, it's like these are not really like assassinate spells. They're more like initiations, you know, so it's going to take some high skill.
Yep, as the gank attempt onto Ame, he's outnumbered. He gets off the Chemical Rage, but the burst damage is way too much. And they lose Seb on the other side of the map, but again, favorable trade for OG as this Alchemist, he is not off to a great start, just middle of the pack at the 9-minute mark when, I mean, in a couple minutes, that is typically the time where you're deep into your Radiance.
And they laned a Morphling against him. It's like they didn't even lane this crazy Viper lane-dominating hero into the Alc. This is a free-farm Yuragi Morphling that also happened to dumpster and pressure the lane. This is like disaster situation for LGD.
Yeah, I mean, this is very reminiscent of the first game where this Bloodseeker is just slowly kicking Ame out. He's poor, and there's like this impending pressure. I think OG is really good at playing this type of situation. If you're this Coddle, you're really free. You feel like you have these melee heroes that can just run in for you. There's Morphling that can't die. There's so many. You have so many heroes that can just give you vision, and you just play off that. And Tiny's not going to have Blink for 100 years. Neither will Pango. Like, it's a really free game to abuse this Vessel.
And Amar in the trees as we hear Chemical Rage as Ame trying to catch up as much as he can with the help of his team being around.
They do know Amar's here because the courier came into the trees. They saw it with the ward.
Yep, as mid lane, looks like Jin-Q going to get disposed under his own tier 1, and BZM is just all over the place. How many kills is that for him now?
3-0-2. And
so
he almost
involved
has the Vessel.
in 5 kills so far.
100 gold, he's got the Vessel.
Yeah, that's a problem.
And they just smoke up immediately, and Y might be the recipient of this smoke gank. He's going to get blinding lit to the other side of the fissure. Maybe not exactly what they were looking for. Is Ame. Okay, beautiful Rolling Thunder from Nothing to Say. BZM's just dead. That's worth a lot of money. But Faith Beyond coming in is getting bursted down by Yuragi as Seb with the Echo Slam coming out. But it's not enough for him to get away as Yuragi still with that sidekick. Turns into Razor. Gets off that plasma field as well as the focus is on Tiger, but he gets a big rebound out to safety. Yuragi trying to save his teammate. Double kill for Nothing to Say. And now it's a 1v3 for Yuragi. Not sure if he can find anybody after the fact.
That was really impressive from LGD. The way they're positioned on the left, they know that OG is coming from the right, so they're like sort of leaning and they're hiding in the trees, and they bait this Dazzle out a bit. I think OG actually steps a bit too far up, and they overcommit for this level 5 Dazzle kill, which doesn't matter that much. And they open the opportunity for this Pango to come through with the roll, because realistically, if you're playing more in the open and you're kiting a bit better, you can avoid giving away these kills. But LGD is like super ready there and poised, because they know the map's kind of in a bad state, and they need this like clutch play, and they get it perfectly, which is like a huge deal, because the map was starting to get into a very bad spot.
OG also took a risk with that fight too, because Amar TP'd out of top lane as they popped the smoke to go top. So they knew that that was at best going to be, I guess at worst, a 4v5. They thought they could win that without Amar, and Yuragi getting, or BZM getting caught out. It's like, that's the worst hero to die first, like you mentioned with the bait on the Dazzle.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you make a read in the moment and you're like, okay, this is a good fight for us. You're just playing in the moment. You're playing, you know, fast Dota, but sometimes that can backfire and the enemy's ready and maybe you get a little overzealous and you feed some kills away. They were also like 100 gold away from Vessel at the time. It was just the urn, so a pretty big momentum swing in the way of LGD.
Yeah, that gives Ame a little bit of space as we're going to see the little swapperoo there.
Okay, all right.
I'll take that rune, no problem.
Pretty good.
Yeah, Taiga, just used to clicking that Q button immediately upon seeing somebody. Just a slightly wrong angle as Amar has the double Wraith Band going for the Dragon Lance and then into the BKB.
Yep, he's finished with the D-Lance, so he's pretty damn strong right
rebound
now.
onto Jin Q, so going to get some retribution for taking that bounty rune. The insolence from Jin Q. Seb is standing here. Thought they might go on him, but not to be.
Yeah.
And how close is he getting to his next item? So he's already 1,000 into his blink there. I actually have to get your opinion on this, Quinn, because me and Jenkins have talked a lot about it. This Earthshaker hero has looked really, really bad at times and really, really good. And it seems to come down to how early can he get this blink.
He's actually queued up the shard.
Okay, very good.
That's a Seb classic.
Yeah, I mean, I think the blink is very important, and also how you can use this fissure. Oh, looks like he's gonna die.
Looks like he is dead.
Or is he?
Getting static length. Another fissure comes out. Just need one more plasma field if he can kneel, but he's actually blocked up by the trees, so Seb limping away. Maybe this little extra life here will make him change his mind and not go for the shard first, although we have seen that from time to time, and it's pretty damn valuable. Yeah, I mean, it's not like a one-and-done type thing. You can just get this off repeatedly.
Yeah, I mean, it's also a very good shard game because you have a lot of poke damage. You have this long-range Viper damage. You have long-range Coddle damage. So if you're this sort of waddling around Shaker, you walk in, you fissure, bam. Like, you have a lot of this chain stun poke damage. I'm sure they have the Grave, but is a Grave really going to save the guy? Probably not. He's still really slow. He's still stunned. He's probably still going to die. So the Grave isn't really that much of a save early on in the game.
Looks like BZM working on an Orchid as his next item, as a Diffusal Blade finish now into Nothing to Say's Pango. So Orchid against Pango, obviously something you don't really want to itemize against. We've seen Lotus Orb in the past. What are the choices, or what are the reasoning for the Orchid other than the Pango?
I think a lot of it is just the Pango, but it's also pretty annoying for the supports. If you find some tiny, now he can no longer like Avalanche to reset. You have like planetary Orchid range with this when you pop Coddle ult. So
that's a nice term. I like that.
When you see this Dazzle, it's just like, you over there, yeah, you're Orchided.
Oh, Amar. He's going to get some speed boost thanks to the rebound, but he's not going to outchase Nothing to Say with that Diffusal Blade. The Inhibit comes out, and he's going to get stun locked on the stairway. And Nothing to Say gets credit for this one.
BZM cancels his TP too. There's no way to save him there when the Marcy TP's out. I like the Orchid against Dazzle. I feel like the big way people try to answer the Dazzle is by jumping and killing Dazzle, but if you have planetary range, why not just...
Wait, is that what you said?
Yeah.
I did say
range?
planetary.
Why not just Orchid him? Like, just... We can focus the frontliner, we can focus whoever we want, because the Dazzle's not going to be able to press any spells. What item is Dazzle going to get to take off an Orchid? There's not...
Yeah, it's not happening. After a long time. I mean, eventually they'll get a Lotus Orb. It's an extremely good Lotus Orb per game for LGD, but that's still quite a ways away.
Well, Ame catching up. He's very close to finishing his Radiance, and yeah, second net worth now We've seen like the 14, 15-minute radiance, and the fact that he gets it around this time is actually pretty damn impressive considering how shut down he was to start the game. Speaking of getting shut down, Dazzle's dead.
Yes, he is.
Okay, anyway, back to what you were saying.
Radiance, not bad timing considering the start.
Yep. It's that fight around top really bought them a lot of space to be able to like just sort of chill on their side of the map and continue to get the items up. Coddle's momentum is slowed down quite a bit, and this is a hero that relies a lot on that. There is a window sort of in this 15 to 25-minute phase where the items you buy, they're nice if you're owning, like they're really helpful, but if the game is sort of even, the enemy starts getting closer to BKBs and Lotus Orbs and Blinks, and then your game can be a bit more scary to play. So we're sort of starting to get into that range, and if OG doesn't get more tempo, there will come a point where LGD has multiple Blinks and they have BKBs, and things can be harder for this Coddle to like actually maneuver and play.
Some pressure to the tier 1 as the fort is now popped from LGD. You can see Jin-Q has his blink, so you get these Avatosses back into enemy lines. But the tier 1 tower is just going to be given up. LGD not ready to defend this.
Yeah, Razor's close to BKB, and he's not fighting into Coddle, Viper, Marcy, Shaker
No way.
before BKB.
Yeah, that's...
So he's AFK farming.
Oh, into the pit. So OG finding a little opening here, and you can see LGD not really in the area. Question is, how fast can they take this? Approaching the half HP mark, and yeah, it looks to be a freebie for OG.
Yeah, it does seem so. I don't think this Aegis is going to do that much, realistically. This Morphling probably wasn't going to be dying very much anyway, so an Aegis is like nice and all, but this is definitely not the end of the world, and LGD just playing for their timings because contesting that is just very, very risky.
Yeah. As we see Shard now online for Seb, who's actually going for a 4-step instead of the blink next. The Fissure actually blocking off most of his team, but the rebound back in. Early Graves saving nothing to say for the time being, but the Echo Slam keeps 2 in place, and that means 2 are dead in favor of OG. And they're going to find yet another as Yuragi turns into Tiny. Another toss to work with. Double kill for BZM as OG with this Aegis advantage winning this fight handily.
Yeah, nothing to say with a little bit of a whoopsie there, I think. He swashed a little bit aggressively, and once you swash forward like that against this Orchid, it's a problem.
Yep, Taiga, he might be the collateral. Faith Beyond forced to pop his BKB, trying to man fight against Yuragi, but again, this is just the Aegis, and now Faith Beyond basically in enemy lines, despite this being his own triangle, trying to get BZM, but it's not going to happen. So the domino effect continues as LGD fall.
Yeah, sort of an uncharacteristic mistake from Faith Beyond. This chain feeding thing is not a thing that often happens for LGD, so a little bit messy, but OG pushing the tempo very hard. They get this Aegis, and they don't like back up to push lanes. They immediately straight into the triangle.
There they go again. They're smoking.
Yeah, they know they have some really strong footing right now. Alchemist still off his BKB. Razor's BKB CD. Pango no blink yet. Like, they have a lot of things going their way.
And they smoke. They might actually catch All Might down here. This was a good read. I don't know if they saw him walking out of base with the ward.
Oh boy, and he's all alone. He's just a recipe away from BKB. If he shows the acid spray, maybe they'll redirect. He's not ready for it. Of course, they already used their scan, so just the fact that he's in these trees,
okay,
pretty difficult to find.
Yeah, he sees the creep wave being pushed by the Caudle now. He knows all of OG is here.
There's also a gigantic wave top. Holy cow.
They'd be very happy about that. Yeah. So not too far away from the BKB, but the fact that you're playing Alchemist down 4K, not a great sign to start from LGD. And Yuragi, we've seen, has had this Manta for quite a while, and will be the Scotty next.
He has a soul ring, by the way, on Morphling. He's got a soul ring.
I just saw that.
It's kind of cool.
Interesting.
He's not expecting any chakra magics coming his way.
Yeah, with a Caudle. Yeah, that's kind of funny.
Ooh, Taiga. Not able to find the space to get off that dispose.
Does have the keen optics. Almost
Avatos from Jin-Q, and that is a deleted Morphling. He was full agi, it looks like, but again, just the Aegis as Amar will get Retribution. So expires a little bit early for OG, but not the biggest punish.
LGD is starting to get hemmed in. You see Ame's not able to sneak out onto these lanes and farm. There is too much kill threat, too much global ability. This Shaker and this Marthi hunting in all the lanes. It's very difficult for LGD to actually get out right now, and it's also hard for them to take a fight until they have just like a little bit more. So they're slowly losing out on gold, and it's not a position you want to be in against this much like stun and scaling late game. It's not a game where Razor's going to be able to do that much unless he has a bunch of items, which he does not currently.
Yeah, I feel like Morphling is really set up for success in this game. Like, Morph versus Alk, you're a Scotty buyer. I don't think Alk is ever going to out-trade a Morph. Like, the point of Alk is you have more gold than somebody. And they're about even right now. And then you steal the Razor and just take the Link. It's like a hard counter.
Yep, smoke comes out from LGD. Actually positioning themselves. The last time, I remember seeing this, the last time they were down by this much. I mean, 5K, 6K against an Alchemist, it's probably like more like 10, 11K. But when Faith Beyond was Razor, when he got that refresher, they turned that game around real fast. As Seb, invisible, blocking the smoke, gets off the Echo Slam, but he gets bashed up. And he's going to be brought down very swiftly by Faith Beyond, pops that BKB. Rolling Thunder's coming in from Nothing to Say. So 1-for-1 supports right now as BZN. We'll watch Nothing to Say just TP out inside that ult for him. So just a support for support.
Yeah, I mean, they force all of OG's heroes to the top lane, so Alk gets a little bit of time. He's going to get to farm these camps and potentially push bottom lane in. So they use some BKBs for it, but, or I mean, they use Razor BKB for it, but it's not the end of the world for LGD. But you can see that, like, that's not the type of smoke you're making if you're in a comfortable position, you know. It's, I wouldn't say desperation, but it's definitely a very uncomfortable position for them that they're sort of squirming around trying to find a way out of.
Yeah, I feel like that could have been disastrous for LGD if that went a little bit different. Like Tiny not being caught in the aftershock meant that he could get the avalanche off, so Seb couldn't continue his chain stun.
Yeah, I mean, you can see the gold lead continuing to mount, and that's with an Alchemist, like you said, against some matchups that aren't that great unless you have more money than them, and he does not have more money, so things can potentially get pretty scary for LGD soon. Viper having BKB as well, you're running out of targets you can jump, but whenever that starts happening and the enemy gets a Force Staff, the enemy gets ways to, you know, continue to shrink the amount of heroes you can jump, things start getting really difficult. You need to play off 100 to zeros, and versus a good team who's aware of it, you're just not going to get that many 100 to zeros.
There's Yuragi and company taking the outpost in LGD's jungle. And Seb, is he now going for a blink? I believe he does have Force Staff. Okay, just finished Force Staff, I believe, yeah. So Blink will finally come in. He's going Shadow Blade after. I can't wait to see all this mobility. Seb. I mean, what do you think about going Force Staff before Blink this game? Obviously a lot cheaper, but or a lot easier to get.
I think it sort of plays into that idea of LGD needing these certain jumps on these cores, this Coddle or whoever, and if they buy items to kite that, then LGD's heroes have massive problems actually doing anything.
And Nothing to Say, has to use his ult just to TP out again, and obviously no way for OG to really do anything about it. Ame, he gets off his BKB just to run away. And if I'm not mistaken, that is the 9-second charge.
Wait, if you turn back into Morphling while channeling Alkstone, he doesn't stun himself.
Oh, really?
The more you know.
That's kind of OP.
Yeah, real OP.
Dude, that's good. Yeah, how many Alk self-stuns have we seen result? It's usually 5 Alk.
Yeah, but taking over Alk isn't really that great. You don't get Chemical Rage.
Acid Spray is an S-tier ability.
It is, if they stand in place.
Yeah.
So you Strength Morph to get the Adaptive Strike stun into Acid Spray, then it's powerful.
Yeah.
Real powerful. And Scotty not that far away from Yuragi, and again, when it comes to Scotty carriers, this is probably a top 3 hero in the entire game, along with the TBs of the world.
Amar also has one queued up after the Manta style that naturally...
Yep, of course.
Because you got to get those three snakes coming in hot.
CLGD smoking, but there's nobody up here. They are definitely very desperate for a fight right now. They're doing it even without the Alk BKB, looking for any window they can find, but smoke breaks.
Yeah, Nothing to Say. At the very least, able to deny Yuragi a double damage, which would have been pretty scary. 7K lead for OG.
I mean, this is where it comes back once again to this. You need a jump on the Coddle or the supports, and if there's this Viper always breaking and there's a Force Staff and they're playing on hills and in fog, it just is so annoying to jump them. And you can see LGD, like, they're just looking for it constantly. They're, like, always trying to be ready, but they're just not getting the opportunity.
And OG scanned this out, so they know this could be a thing here. As Seb, a little bit late on the fissure, as Amar has to BKB TP. He's fine. Seb might not be too much, as Nothing to Say stuck inside the wall. Gets off the Blink Dagger, so that is, again, just a support kill, not the biggest deal. And OG read that all the way.
Yeah, they're playing for this Roche. I don't know if it spawned. I don't know how to read that chart.
1 minute and 14 seconds before spawning.
Good to know.
when it's golden, that means that's how long
We learned that one the hard way.
Yeah, we made some big mistakes in the DPC. Of course, you guys don't see that in when you're playing as a pro player.
We do not.
Yep, nobody watches. Nobody watches.
Yuragi in the Razor form, not able to find anybody though. The lead has gone down a bit in favor of LGD, but again, with the Alk, feels like they need to be leading. Zame gets some nice creeps and TPs out, so just playing the kind of split push game.
Yeah, now he has the BKB on Cuddle as well, so this game, a lot of how the fights go depends on Xingqiu and Nothing to Say being really ready and crispy with these jumps.
Avatos, but the instant Orchid onto the Tiny as Seb 4 steps to safety, and the Viper Strike's actually going to slow Faith Beyond down enough for Seb to survive, but now they're going to TP out, or trying to, but Faith Beyond's BKB ends right at the right moment as the Fissure ends up canceling the TP. Double kill for Seb of all heroes, and now Y looks to be next on the list. The fact that Seb survived and then canceled that TP, pretty damn crazy, and now they're going to scout out the second Roche of the game.
It literally just respawned as that fight ended. That is lucky.
Yeah, that's a catastrophe for LGD. I mean, sure, Nothing to Say is out farming on the map, but that whole pincering in, closing LGD into the map that was going on for the last 5 minutes is only going to get worse now, because now there's even more heroes that are invincible, even more heroes standing on hills being annoying. They're going to go D-ward your triangle right now. And the places where you can play as LGD are just slowly shrinking and shrinking. You're going to lose your top tier 2 now. It's only going to get harder from here.
Now, important question. Who gets the Ag Shard?
That is a great question.
It's always Viper.
Yeah, Amar, did he actually take it?
It was Viper.
Yeah. So now they can push extremely fast. I mean, Morphling is one of those heroes that people kind of lose sight of when it comes to pushing, but he's actually very strong because he can just go full Agi and right-click away. Now with the minus armor and poison attack damage from Amar, it's going to be even faster. Xingqiu jumps in with the Avatos, but Amar, instant BKB. Ame trying to focus down BZM. He'll be successful, so dead Caudle right off the bat in favor of LGD, and Amar looks to be next, and nobody actually dying in this engagement for LGD.
Dang, that was super impressive. Ame clicked the Caudle in the air with the stun, because otherwise the chain doesn't go off, because Caudle has BKB, so he presses it when he lands if he doesn't get it off, but he managed to like click him in the air with the stun.
Wow. And LGD, I mean, I feel like this is a team. We saw them come back from what looked to be, it looked to be literally the biggest stomp, the biggest shellacking of the entire major.
It was a top hat.
And it was a top hat, almost an umbrella, and LGD came back from it. It was a reverse top hat, so a 7K gold lead against them. You gotta be careful.
Yeah, that reverse top hat will get you. Nice BKB timing from Amar, but it's just BZM not able to play Dota in this fight.
That was nice. He might have like shift queued it or something like that.
Yeah, it was really impressive. I mean, I think this is a sign of a really good team. Like, that's literally what cost them the Roche before, is they jumped just like a little bit out of position, or like maybe they needed to wait a little bit longer, but it doesn't phase them at all. Like, Xingqiu immediately is still looking at their wards, he's still ready for this jump, and they do it again, because they know that's how they need to play. Like, they can't just give OG the whole map. They have to be ready on these spots, looking for these key jumps, and he doesn't get phased at all, he keeps looking for it, and it pays off big. Like, they just have to keep finding this stuff. It's a very high skill game for LGD, but it's not out of reach.
Still 3 minutes left on that Aegis. I mean, the fact that they were able to take that fight for PSG kind of cuts into the Aegis timer, which is exactly what you want to do, because this second rush is typically the time that you want to hit the high ground. And we're going to see that right now, potentially from Yuragi. With that sidekick enabled as well.
He's close to AC on Alchemist, which will help a little. Yeah, he has it. Oh, he has it already.
He has AC, yeah, building into the Scotty now, so he can actually win the trade with Yuragi.
Yuragi bash now, Nothing to Say. Basically guaranteed to get that with a swashbuckle most of the time, as you can see the building's melting. Tier 3 tower's dead, and OG still with the Aegis for 2 minutes. Question is, will LGD give up one set of racks or just try to delay this?
Taiga's in a really good spot here. He's looking for the jump. He put a ward down too. They see everything.
I'm just focusing on the barracks, but you can see they relocate poor Yuragi into the enemy lines, but he's able to waveform to safety. Has Nothing to Say already with that ult coming out. Mar has to pop his BKB, standing his ground. Could try to finish this Rax, and that's exactly what he'll do. And we'll tick out eventually to that poison attack, but now that the BKB's down, he's going to get tossed back into the fray. But Yuragi comes in, deleting heroes left, right, and center. But a nice grave coming out from Y on himself, and the Aegis is down. Y able to rebound to safety. Ame, I mean, that Spirit Vessel applied, he's not going to regen too much despite having the Chemical Rage. He's getting stun locked. And Sep actually jumps into his death as Morphling dead. 70 seconds of no Yuragi. Double kill for Ame. Bash coming out from nothing to say, attempting to continue this chase onto BZM, who just recently popped his BKB.
Maybe this
so
one
he is super fast.
Oh, doesn't it?
Gonna get off.
Oh, he hit him.
Yep, he hit him in the trees,
No
but
bash.
he's gonna TP out there.
Oh.
He's so lucky that that didn't bash. So lucky.
And OG, they do get the melee racks in that bot lane, but that was not as smooth as they were looking for, that's for sure.
Yeah, I can't give enough kudos to LGD for making that hole. I think a lot of teams, if you mess that fight up, as the thing is LGD, the game is over. You lose the game right there. You're going to lose 2 sets of racks, or you're going to lose too many buybacks to come back from that gold lead. But they understand that even though this Morphling has Aegis, it doesn't matter. They still need to go on this guy and chuck him back into base because you can't start on anyone else. They're positioned too well. You have to go on this guy who's exposed and bait them into the base. And they understand that, and they make this happen. And if you mess it up even just a little bit, you just lose the game. Like that jump right there, so clutch from Tiny. Like so many little things that if they go slightly differently, you just lose on the spot.
So that's the first death there for Yuragi. And I was surprised that he, I mean, obviously with Ame being that low, I can see why. And I mean, the fact that Y is able to survive through this is crazy. But definitely punished. So 1 rack's down, not the end of the world for PSG.LGD.
I feel like OG even played that fight very well. It's just that LGD somehow found the openings. Like the OG's chain stuns were good. Taiga, he tried to save. But LGD, they pressed their buttons.
They sure did. Smoke on both sides, and Jin-Q going to back up now as both teams know the general area.
He's got a ward. He's looking to ward in Sentry, maybe.
Yep, Yuragi waveforming in, but instant blink from Jin-Q. The fact that he even got the Solar Bind off is kind of insane, but obviously too far away now to pursue, as this game is getting a little bit closer for LGD.
Really great restraint from both fours there. They saw each other and they both knew that it was kind of a weird, uncertain jump. They didn't try and force it too much. They're not being antsy. They decided to just wait and play for the jump they're more sure of. I think it's very, very clutch from both teams.
LGD's done such a good job this game at just like dodging the bad fights and instead just running at the side lanes, like getting behind this like front line on the map of OG, trying to restrict them the base.
Oh my god.
Put his hands out and everything. Come to
Those
me.
hands are very fearsome. But yeah, next Roche, we won't know for another couple minutes. And that's going to be the big one. That's going to be the one that, in many cases...
It's going to be the eggs.
Well, now that you say that.
The patch has come out. They changed it.
Hot fix.
70% chance for the eggs, 30%.
Yeah. When you play, do you notice the third Roche? It's like 70-30 Refresher Shard over Ags.
I feel like when I get third Roche, it's Refresher. When they get it, it's Ags.
That's true. That's true. That's a good point.
Confirmation bias there.
Yeah.
Yes.
But BZM, yep, looking towards the Octarine.
Ame has Scotty. It is closing in on a point where maybe LGD can take a straight-up fight.
Oh, Ame already has a concoct coming off. Trying to focus on Amar, but he's already at half HP. They have to be careful. Can't even pop his ult yet. Gets off the BKB finally, trying to regen through, and he just chops down Taiga. But he's the one that's low. Finally, the grave comes out as Yuragi. He's going to get deleted. 80 seconds of no Morphling. And now Amar looks to be next on the list. Double kill for Faith Beyond.
LGD
And that's
so
4 dead from OG with the buyback on Marcy.
Dude, that was insane.
They see BZM.
BZM in the trees.
He's gonna get him.
The toss from Jin-Q. He does, along with the swash, as he actually gets off his BKB, but he just right-clicked down very casually from nothing to say. So a full team wipe, if you count the buyback.
That was actually crazy. The fact that they, like, it's this baiting. They understand that they have the reset. Like, there is so much slow damage. They have this Coddle, this Viper, and if the Alk presses his ult, like, immediately, then they can kite the ult, and it's hard to fight after. But he runs in and he baits them to use all this crap on
no
him.
BKB, yeah.
Yeah, and then they know they have the dazzle save behind him, so he presses the ult and purges all of the stuff, and then is able to play the fight slower afterward. Like, extremely impressive.
Yeah, like
Bet some balls right there.
It looks stupid. It looks like a mistake that they're making, but that's exactly what they want it to look like, right? They want it to look like, oh, you can kill this guy, but the grave is there, and he's so low, and it's very close to being disastrous. But it's like what Quinn is saying. It's what they have to do at this point.
Yeah, I mean, they get drawn in just a little bit, and they have so much repositioning and annoying, like, repeating stun. They have this tiny, always waiting to toss you back. They have this Pango who's going to chain stun you when your BKB's out. Like, if you don't win the fight really quickly as OG, things can start to get really hairy if the stuns are still alive on LGD, because they're going to keep repositioning you and stunning you and poking you, and it just falls apart over time.
And now LGD has the 6K gold lead. I don't think they need to even keep risking plays like that to take fights. Like, they can probably just toss somebody back, and like the fights just get easier for them from here on out.
Yeah, I mean, you can continue. I mean, you can see that they're still like so ready. They're so poised. They're not like letting their guard down. Like, they have this ward here. They're ready to break a smoke. They know that OG's probably coming, and they just break the smoke like this.
Yep, Seb, instant blink away. Taiga, he's a little braver. He puts down the ward just to spot Jin Q. Obviously, those spider legs really helping out his cause.
Spider legs on Tiny is so insane, actually. It helps you with the easiest tossbacks in the history of Dota.
Really big Arcane Rune.
Yeah, that's a good one.
This is a very big deal. Also with Linken's now on Pangolier, so he is going to be a massive pain. Sort of playing into this slow fight theme. If LG continues to play these cute, kitey fights, like, they're going to have multiple roles now. They have this super blink for, like, also to just, like, force out these BKBs so that the fight can last. Refresher on Razor, so Morphling can't even really man fight into all this, like, crap and the AC and the Refresher and just so much stuff. Like, Morph is at this point where he can't just wave in and hit stuff. Like, he's going to die. You saw it last fight. He's fighting a Razor, and Razor just killed him.
Yeah. And we're approaching the territory. I mean, I think Ame is going for the shards. That gives him an extra dispel if he's already popped the Chemical Rage, which is going to be pretty damn valuable against the Spirit Vessel. But maybe now we get some Ags for his teammates after the fact. But we'll see. And LGD smoking up.
They're trying to get them on these 37-minute items.
Side. Yeah, Piragi able to wave from away, but a beautiful double avalanche, which forces the double BKB from OG. Rolling Thunder on the sideline. Faith Beyond taking the right clicks from Amar, but they're actually kind of baiting this, it feels like. The buyback onto the Tiny. Faith Beyond pops his Refresher. That's 2 Eye of the Storms, and this Morphling is completely isolated. He's just going to get right click down. 80 seconds of no Uragi. He buys back, TPing onto the outpost. And it looks like LGD still want to fight. They are not scared of this buyback whatsoever, although Faith Beyond's ult now running out. Ash comes out on the BZM.
The Arcane Rune's going to come into play here. He's going to have roll again. I don't know if OG can deal with that.
Yeah, so 7K lead for LGD as they know that this is now a 5v4. Seb without a buyback as Roche is now up. But they have to push out these lanes. This bottom racks starting to bite them a bit. The fact that they require Ame's services to do that. And now you can see the Roche is scouted from Uragi.
Another wave coming as well. Ame might decide to deal with, or maybe they prioritize being here immediately.
Shin Q, the fearsome position 4 with the double damage now. Obviously just denying that from Morphling, pretty damn big. And there you go, another Rolling Thunder from Nothing to Say. He catches Amar, only stuns him once though. Doesn't look like any follow-up will come. So not quite enough space for LGD to go for Roche. Well, I say that. They at least scouted out.
Even if they don't kill the Roche off this, they still have this ward that OG's not dewarded, and they killed OG's Hill ward. So a lot of times in these Roche standoffs, this Hill ward will keep getting placed back and forth over and over again. And if you can, like, sometimes you kill a hero, you smoke, and you just kill the ward, and you put your own ward, and it's more valuable than almost anything else. Because this is still standing here. They still see them. Like, LGD is very happy and calm with what's happening. They're not scared at all. They know what's going on. And OG is lacking vision. They're going to be more inclined to overextend it to LGD, and they're waiting for it.
Yeah, Ame continue to push out that bot lane as Uragi, he's not getting any farm right now. His services are required to make sure that this Roche is not being taken.
And no buyback on the Morphling either, so you feel really bad. You've just bought back and you can't farm any creeps. And so if you lose this next fight, you lose the Aegis, you start getting pinned into the base, you can start to have real item progression problems as the Razor continues to get more fat, the Pango gets more fat, Tiny starts to have a Yules and a Ghost Scepter and a Force. Like, it starts to get really hard to kill heroes.
Well, also because of the vision that LGD has. They have this ward that's constantly scouting out Uragi and all of OG. It means that Ame can feel comfortable actually hitting creeps because he knows that they're not taking Roshan. He knows that they're not making any moves. So that's another reason that he's just going to get more and more farmed. He's almost... He's actually getting to the point where he's going to be double the Morph's net worth. He's getting
there, but OG are in the pit. You can see most of LGD in the area. Off the Avalanche with the swashbuckle, but the Roche is going out relatively fast, and Ame is just waddling his way over there. Can they contest Faith Beyond with the Plasma Field, forcing some of OG out? And this Roche is getting extremely low. Here comes the Rolling Thunder. Double stun from Nothing to Say. Trying to focus on Seb, but he gets a nice force staff to safety. And Amar pops the BKB, just focusing on Faith Beyond, but that is a Refresher Orb with the BKB. Roche getting extremely low. Who is going to get it? It looks like it's going LGD's way, as the rest of OG have to hightail out because of the death on Yuragi. But they're going to try to get some kills in the meantime as BZM getting chased. But the Orchid going to prevent the stun from coming out. And that is a Refresher Shard. Aegis still pulsating on the ground, as Ame will take it for himself.
Holy moly.
Yuragi got caught by the Dazzle Hex. That's legitimately all that was. He was Agimorphing, gets caught. No Scotty necessary, nothing. Just basic damage going through the team fight. He goes down.
I mean, honestly, this all goes back down to the fact that they don't have a gem and they didn't deward the spot. Like, they're just seen the whole time. So LGD is not in a rush. They're poking. They're fine with this Roche getting low because they know they have the jump coming. They're biding their time for Alchemist to get close enough.
Yeah, so he's strength morphing here. There's the Agimorph.
It was Alex into Dazzle Hex.
Man, yeah, that's rough. That is very unfortunate. So now LGD turning this game completely around. We've seen it before, and again, remember, game number 1 was only their second loss of the entire freaking tournament, which is absurd. So being pushed to the limit here by OG, but they might have run out of steam now.
Yeah, this team's clutch factor is like completely unparalleled. I don't think any other team is even close. Some of these jumps that Xingqiu got, in the triangle right after they got the Aegis, being like super ready there and getting these 2 kills, like I think they'd probably just get stomped if they didn't get that from there on out. Like there's the way they play this high ground defense, like so many windows that if they lose one more hero, they miss one spell, like they'll just lose the game on the spot.
Oh, Aghanim Scepter. Click. It's got to be Nothing to Say, right? Did he give it? Nothing to say? No? Okay. Oh, he hasn't received it yet.
He gave it to Razor.
Oh, he gave it to Razor? Okay, so that's some
really
building
good.
damage. Very nice.
Do 2 refreshers on Razor. He's going to have 3 BKBs, 3 Hexes, 3 Eye of the Storms.
And he's got Cheese just as a backup there.
Yeah.
No problem.
He's also a Chad and took the Storm interval strike. Almost everybody these days have been taking the speed. But
yeah, last time we cast him, he did this as well, actually.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I like the read, honestly. Like this Morphling keeps running into you, and you just need.
Oh, Jin Q. He might be food for OG, left all alone and mega dead. But yeah, like I was saying earlier, the game that we cast that was the reverse top hat, well, it wasn't exact scenario. It didn't have an Alchemist, I don't think, but Faith Beyond's surprise Refresher Orb turned the game. Ends up going that talent, ends up getting the Ags eventually, and that was the biggest comeback of the tournament. And the fact that this is the upper bracket of the playoffs might make this potentially the biggest comeback for LGD in quite a while.
Yeah, they're in pole position to take this game. Coddle at this point in the game is strong for sure, but the enemy is very tanky, and this Lotus Orb item and these Force Staves, like, they're a real problem for this hero as the game progresses because you don't have that like 100-0 damage that a core wants at this point. You have like half HP, like you can take a core to half HP, but that's not enough. There's a grave, there's reset potential, like it starts getting really annoying. You look at OG's heroes and they have really big damage issues.
Yeah, and it doesn't feel like Yuragi can go in and man fight where like maybe he could be the damage, but he's dying. He's dying to the hexes, he's dying to the Alk with the Eye of Scotty, healing reduction. Like, Yuragi can't man up and do damage. So the question is, where does it come from? And, well, it looks like Amara's building a Daedalus, so that'll be something.
Oh, Butterfly first,
Daedalus.
apparently.
Yeah, so he's going full carry build.
Yeah, the real question is Ame building more Aghanim Scepters? He has 7K. I don't even know what Dazzles does anymore, if I'm being honest. Just has to do with the free item usage or whatever.
I think production just opened up the
like
console to try to see what Dazzle's ultimate does. What is? Sir, that's not good.
What is Dazzle?
Doesn't look like LGD want to use this this Aegis in any capacity. Does that surprise you at all? There's only a minute left. Or maybe they're going now.
It sort of is, to be honest. I think they maybe were going to, and then Xingqiu got caught, and it sort of slowed things down for them. I'm not exactly sure what happened, but I do feel like something could have happened more in this time frame. Because OG is sad right now for sure, but they're not like weeping.
Oh, you're right.
I like that.
He's there.
Not yet, at least.
Will they be weeping?
Yeah, the smoke not broken yet. The Avatos Xingqiu. They destroy those illusions. And now the self-stun. Actually, Faith Beyond's BKB obviously could refresh it, but would feel kind of bad, especially since there's only 30 seconds left on the Aegis here.
Spicy game, to be sure. This bottom lane is not the end of the world, but it is annoying. You can see people pinging it. LG's probably looking at it. They're going to back up. Aegis is wearing out.
That's the Axe, Quinn.
He has it queued up.
Let's go. Click on Pango. What talents does he have? Is he 27 yet?
He's close to 27.
Okay.
Rolling Thunder. What do you get at 27?
Well, 15 talents, which you want.
Oh, it's 28. Oh, 27 is useless.
Yeah.
1.5 mana regen. Juicy. That'd be juicy.
He'll never have to go to base.
I mean, again, that 20 talent or that 15 talent is crazy. Crazy if you have Ags.
It is a lot of deeps.
But we'll see. So he is building Ags. I was wondering if he was just going to try to either get a Moonshard or even replace the Radiance
he gave it to
at this
Dazzle.
point.
Oh,
All right,
Dazzle.
somebody read this for me.
Okay, so it refreshes somebody's their items.
Okay, so more BKBs for Faith Beyond?
Yeah.
I presume it doesn't refresher.
No. I don't
Definitely
think
not.
so.
Definitely not.
That would be
Hope
stupid.
not. That would be broken.
Definitely not.
This would be every game. Also reduces Dazzle's item cooldowns as well, so he'll have Glimmer Cape.
Have like 15 billion grades.
So that's like his old one.
Yeah, so he has a 2-second downtime on Glimmer Cape. That's actually insane.
Yeah, it's pretty nutty.
Because having a gem in your inventory at this point is a big pain. Like, everybody is 6-slotted. Kind of.
Sad. 4-staff. And buybacks. You can see Yuragi, he's 800 gold away from his. Taiga trying to find Faith Beyond, but the double BKB comes out from each. Now he's just going to get static linked along with Faith Beyond's Refresher, so that's going to be a dead Marcy to say the least. Nothing to say. Not able to find anybody, though, with the Rolling Thunder. So a lot expended from LGD just for a Marcy kill. They do get the tier 2, though.
Yeah, I think we'll see if they hit the high ground. I do think it's possible with them too. They have the Grave and lots of 4-staffs to reset, but looks like they're opting.
I think they need to wait for another Aghanim Scepter there, Quinn.
Maybe so. All 5.
Let's go for the Algags next.
Oh yeah, he does get that damage buff. That is nice.
What?
I mean, when do you get rid of the Radiance? Okay, he's getting Boots of Travel to replace his phase. I feel like Radiance can be upgraded to some damage item.
Yeah, because he's got the cleave, right?
Like Abyssal Blade or something.
Maybe.
Abyssal probably. That's probably the choice. I mean, that's just. It's gonna make it even harder for Yuragi to trade with him.
But the Ags, nothing to say, is only 1 level away from the Dream.
I honestly, I genuinely do think Ags is more value than replacing a Radiance with anything, because it's not like he needs an Abyssal to kill any of these heroes. You may as well just like start putting net worth on other heroes. Because you're already 6-slotted on Alk. Like, selling an item to buy another one is not much of an upgrade.
Big news, though. In 2 minutes, they can buy a tome for nothing to say to get a little bit closer to that level 28. Lamar popping that Manta.
Oh, they're so close to him.
And they just demolish them. So 18k lead for LGD, but this game still feels very close.
Really big restraint from LGD there, not trying to kill that ward, just saying like, okay, you have a ward, that's fine, you can keep it. We're not gonna fight into your vision. We're gonna come back up here. We're gonna make you come back. They understand how dominant a position they are in terms of team fighting, so they don't want to sacrifice that in some silly way by running into Dire's vision and getting like mega fissure stunned and coddle slowed over and over again. Because realistically, that's the way OG wants to fight. They want you to come into us. We've been going into you all game, and you've been winning. You know, how about you come into us now? And LG's not giving them that.
Yeah, and then they just force them back to base.
And he's going to get Orchided here. Ame does. And Sheeped, just to delay. Has the Boots of Travel 2 now. Actually stuck inside the base. A nice fissure coming out, but the toss back out. No, Seb actually stays on the same side. Pops that BKB, and OG's going to reset. But their buildings are going down pretty damn fast. Nothing to say. Trying to create some space. Seb, BKB does dissipate. Another nice fissure. Nothing to say. Forced to use his swashbuckle, but The real story is that Yuragi might get caught out here. Now the Fissure turning against OG to some degree. Faith Beyond getting the static link and the refresher. He is just decimating this Morphling. That is a dead Yuragi, but he buys back instantly. Seb, Echo Seb comes up, but he dies shortly after. As now the focus looks to be on Faith Beyond, but he's the one doing so much damage. The Basher connects onto Yuragi, gets off the BKB. Amar need to focus on Faith Beyond in the meantime. It's a double kill for Ame. Is he continuing his rampage here? There's a nice double avalanche coming out as well. The cheese activated from Faith Beyond. This man is unkillable. Double buyback for OG. Blink from Nothing to Say sets up all of these additional kills from LGD. Dieback on Yuragi. Ultra kill for Ame. And LGD looking very nice to take this potentially in the game number 3. That's the buyback from Ame, though. Jinkyu gets the toss out. Amar stuck in a very awful spot. He gets sheeped. Concoction's coming for him as well, and that is a dieback for him.
No buys.
2 sets of racks, and they can go for this actual win here as the GGs come out early here. 24K net worth lead for LGD in the end, and a terrific comeback. The discipline from LGD, it rivals nobody, I feel like. Just absurd play.
I don't know if there's another team in the world that would have won that game from LGD's position. The gold lead was never that much, but the position they were in was so paper thin, and they just never made a mistake that was too much. It was always in reach, and it's just like the insane discipline and skill.